Hello, race fans. This is Larry Supermouth Huffman, AMA Hall of Fame announcer, and this isn't Supercross. It's Wednesday! And you're watching Bay Fishing with Roman and Brian. Stand by while the boys teach secrets of bay bass fishing with Roman on his 6-second nitro-burning pedal drive kayak, and Brian in his Cool Baits high-speed dragster boat that he takes out every Sunday. Be there!
Yo, what's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Welcome. You're watching Fishy Hour. Today's Wednesday. It means Bay Fishing with Roman and Brian. And today, as you can see from the thumbnail, as you can see from the title of the show, we're going to tell you guys what to do when you first get bit. We've been telling you guys how to fish this whole time. And now, what are you supposed to do when you get a bite? Stay tuned. And that's what we're going to talk about today on Fishy Hour. Also, if you're, speaking of Fishy Hour, let's get Brian in here. Brian, let's get you in here. Bring him in with a round of applause from the live studio audience. Let's go! What up, Brian?
Nice hairdo, dude. Wow. Dedication, dude.
Woo! If you want to catch more fish, here.
If you need a 2-foot leader,
exactly. A 4-pound test.
What test is that?
Oh no, we have to test it. So if you're learning to fish, so let's do the quick intro to the show like we do normally. So shout out to Leonard for being the first person in the chat. Saltwater Slayer.
Keeper.
We'll give you the first like of the day. Also we got Benji. What up, Benji? Welcome back. We got Carl Black. What up, Carl? Peter 86. What up, Peter? Welcome back. We got Charlie. What's up, Charlie? Welcome back. Oscar 636. SoCal Steve. Iron Fish. Captain Dan, let's go, Captain Dan. All right, cool. We'll do more shout outs.
Elisio. That's
right. We'll do more shout outs towards the end of the show. Let's get into the content. Let's do Pop Top and then get into the content. Go for it, Brian. You're up first. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best Pop Top you ever heard in your life, 1 being the worst, rate this Pop Top. Oh, nice.
Cheers.
All right, go ahead and put the score in the chat.
It's irking me not to do this, Roman.
I know. All right, going with my Pop Top on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best Pop Top you ever heard in your life, 1 being the worst. Rate this other Pop Top. Oh, oops, hold on.
Oh, 10, thank you.
There it is.
10 for Dink. Oh, Eric, I wish Dink was here.
Oh, jeez.
Ripped it. Cheers, buddy.
Nice. Cheers. Nice.
All right, so if you guys saw the thumbnail, we're going to do announcements at the end, by the way, guys. So you guys are waiting for the MFC announcements. We got a huge announcement at the end. Stick around for announcement at the end. But if you saw the thumbnail, guess what tonight's about? Roman's already spilled the beans. It's about, so for like 2 years, we've been talking about bay fishing and how to find these fish and what to find them with, what lures to use, what techniques, what line, blah, 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 all that. Now we're going to talk about what to do once you actually get the fish. Because honestly, Roman, I've been out on the water a lot lately talking to like Chad, and Kevin, Adobo, Salty, and I keep hearing the same kind of comments out of them during spotty bowls. Like, man, I had a huge one, my biggest fish. I had one and it got away.
Yep. And
that seems to be like everybody's got that fish story, right? Where you don't even know what it is sometimes. It could have been your PB, but you know, the one that got away. That's just common in fishing. And we're going to talk about today on how to maybe improve your skills so this doesn't happen. Like when you talk to a lot of the top anglers out there, not just in spotty bowl, but in like the whole fishing tournament world, the reason some of these guys do so well is because they have we all have the ability to catch that fish, but they may be able to get that actual big one in. There's so many times that you may have actually hooked that 15, 16-inch spotty, and that thing just got away from you instantly or broke you off. So that's what we're going to try to teach tonight,
yep.
To try to help you get that big one, especially in a tournament situation, because if you get that big bite, you've earned it, right? You've found him, you've put the right bait on there, and then you definitely want to get that guy in. All right. So starting out, you've hooked the big fish. right? Sorry, I'm trying to talk so fast.
No, that's good. We're good. That's good.
Okay. A lot of the thing is the setup. This just doesn't come like easily. The setup between your reel and your rod is super important. You guys have gone out there and you've spent, big money on getting nicer gear, right? A lot of you guys have. You've upgraded to like this. This is not a big money reel, but this is probably the reel I use the most in Spotty Bowl, which is my SLX, $99 reel. It's nothing special. I think a lot of us fish this. But the reason we bought this over, say, like a $29 reel is because of the performance of the drag, the casting, everything. So you want to learn how to use this drag system to where it's going to work in your advantage. And then the next piece in your arsenal of catching this big fish is the rod. A lot of you guys have gone out and spent $100, $150 on a rod, so that has that feel, but also has the strength, and it's a lightweight rod to reel in these big fish.
Very nice.
Stop me at any moment if there's a question, Roman, or if you want to add to this.
Okay, yeah, I'll add. Just keep going though.
Okay.
Questions at the end, boys.
So I've been talking over the past couple of years, along with you, about doing like a lightweight line, right? Because in my experience, I seem to get a better hookup percentage using a lighter weight line. Like with this setup right here, I'm using a 10-pound braid, which is super, super light, and an 8-pound leader. And some people say that's crazy, because why would you want to do that when you can use a 30-pound with a 25-pound leader, and then you don't have to worry so much about losing that big fish, right?
Yeah.
But to me, I think your percentages of getting the big fish with a lightweight setup is higher. Not maybe because you can present that bait better, or maybe because it's a little clearer, but I just feel like the lightweight setup has a better presentation, I guess, to get that bigger fish. But the downfall is you've hooked that 16-inch fish, and now you've got a fight on your hands because you've only got a 10-pound line and an 8-pound leader, and you're not able to just muscle that thing in. You've got to finesse it a little.
Right. So that's perfect. I'm gonna put you a full screen to make it more uncomfortable for you. No,
Roman has put the pressure on me to go fast tonight, so I'm trying to go really fast, so that's why.
The idea here, guys, is what happens now that you have you're on a nice setup, but you're on lighter line, and you catch that big fish that's maybe outside of the range of where your setup should be able to handle, I guess, maybe, or close to the edge, right? Provided all your stuff is set up correctly, we're going to go into how to actually manage it once you get the bite.
Right. So fishing with this lighter weight line, you do have a risk of more abrasion, the teeth breaking it off, and you're going to be setting your drag a lot looser. So I guess the most important thing is to make sure that when you're fishing with this type of lightweight setup, you have your drag set up for that type of line. So in this case, like I said, a 10-pound line, 8-pound leader, the recommendation is about 25% of the line strength. So if you got a 10-pound line, you want about a 2.5 pound of drag on it. Most of us have been fishing a long time. We can kind of just feel that, we've got a memory of what that line should feel like. But if you're kind of new to it, the best way to check it is actually take your rod and reel, and if you're lucky enough to have a scale, you can actually hook this up to the scale and check your drag strength on it. And this is how you can learn that muscle memory, I want to say. You're not going to do this while you're out on the water. This is just like learning in your garage. You want to try to figure out what your 10-pound or 20-pound line drag is going to feel like. So all you do is take your rod. You can do this by yourself. Hook your scale up to it, and you're going to tear it. And then you're going to set your drag up. And then when you pull your drag, it's going to show you exactly the amount of the. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so it's going to show you the actual when that drag starts slipping, how many pounds you're actually pulling. And you want to set that up at about 25%. So with I think let's just say this is 10-pound line. You're going to want to set that up at about 2.5. So you keep pulling that and keep adjusting your drag.
Oh, that's interesting. So you're doing it sorry.
No problem.
I fish with heavy line all the time.
Yep.
with the exception on my baitcaster style reels, I pretty much button it down and just like try to destroy them, you know. But on my spinning rod lines, it's a little drag you need to use. Like I just have my drag set pretty tight. It's
I'm gonna make you a believer in this.
Is it 20?
End of this?
Is it 20?
End of this segment.
Is it 25%? Is it 25% of the
20 to 30% is the range. I just say 25% because it's in that happy medium. Yeah, so 20-pound line, 4 pounds, and
that's crazy.
That 4 pounds is not a lot, but when you pull 4 pounds of pressure,
that's true.
We're fighting a 2-pound fish. I don't know what kind of pressure it puts when it's pulling away, but the reason you want that, and I'm gonna go over that. That's the next segment on this, but you want that is your starting base. So you're going to figure out what your line is, and you're going to figure out what your drag is. So now that we've figured out that this is 2.5 pounds, you're going to take your scale off, and then you're going to practice pulling this. So you know what it should feel like. Now I know this is 2.5 pounds, 10-pound line. I know what that feels like. So when I get on the water, you kind of keep that muscle memory of what it should feel like. Doesn't have to be exact. It's 2.5. It's 2.
Yeah, it's like I'm having a mental block, dude. Like, and I sorry to keep bringing this back, but like for me, like my idea of like setting my drag is like,
and you pull it till it feels like the line's gonna break.
I would guess like maybe like 70 or 80% of what the light can do. So like if I'm fishing 20-pound line, I would want to do like 15 pounds of drag. And that doesn't make sense. This is going to
make so much more sense.
That doesn't make sense.
When I get to the rod.
Got it.
Because this is going to translate right to that rod.
Perfect. Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so 2.5 pounds. I know what it feels like now. So I'm out on the water.
Wrong screen.
Feels right. You could set it up at home too, but sometimes you need to make some adjustments, So you want your muscle memory to know what it's supposed to feel like. Okay, so you've got that part down. Now
shout out to Mark G. What up, Mark G? Welcome. Shout out to Riggs.
What's up, Mark?
What up, Mr. Zach Riggs in the house? Oscar636 Ironfish. Let's go. All right, keep it going.
So now you know what 2.5 pounds feels like. That's what this should feel like. So I know this feels a little stiff, so I might loosen it up a little. So I know that. I'm out on the water. Okay, the reason you want that. Okay, so you've hooked that big fish, right? And the biggest weapon you have is not only your drag, but also your rod. And the reason that is, okay, now you see when I pull this line, this is a fast action tip, right, on this line. Can you see this whole rod here?
Yep.
So you can see on a fast action tip, only the first 30% of that rod is bending because all the power is way up in the top, right?
Yep.
It's a fast action tip. It's going to hit the power quick. If you have, let's say, your line buttoned down to whatever you're doing, 20 pounds of drag,
80%.
maximum,
yeah,
maximum 10 pounds of drag or whatever the SLX will go to, you've got it buttoned down. When that fish grabs onto this and then bottoms out that rod, right? Now that rod is bottomed out.
Yeah.
Like if you catch a big fish, this rod is going to go all the way into the power as far as it'll go.
Yep.
And each of these rods is rated, like this rod is rated, I think 4 to 8 pound, 8 to 11 pound line. So that's what this rod is rated. So at about 8 or 11, that's going to be maxed out. It's maxed out. That's all that this fish is going to bend this rod, right? That's it. And then at that point, that fish has bottomed out this rod, so this rod is no longer working as a shock absorber.
Right.
The thing about the fish is you want to keep this tension, you want to keep this rod able to keep that tension on at all times. The second this rod goes back to this position, it's the position where it has no, that's when you give that fish that opportunity to shake this bait out of its mouth.
Right.
You want to keep the tension of the rod on that fish at all times. If you've gone to this, you've probably lost.
Right.
Or if you've gone to the full bottomed out position to where it's totally stiff, it's no longer that it gives that fish the opportunity to shake its head because it's totally bottomed out. It's not going any further and widen that hole in its mouth to where that hook could get thrown.
Right.
So you want this drag to be set up so that rod never totally bottoms out. So when it says that 8 to 11 pounds, that's so that rod will never be bottomed out. Does that make more sense now?
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes more sense. It makes more sense, but I'm still like kind of I don't know. I mean, it's good. I mean, I see the logic behind it.
Well, and this is mainly, I'm talking about fishing for finesse stuff.
Yeah,
So
that's
your
good.
mindset is you've got 25-pound line on there. I'll just brute this thing in. But I'm talking about the
That makes
guys that are
sense.
fishing
That
the
makes
lighter
sense.
weight
That
line.
makes sense.
So you want to
Yep.
make sure that once you've hooked that fish doesn't have the opportunity to make that hole in its mouth bigger to throw that hook. And you want to make sure that that pressure is always constant on that fish.
Yeah, because you're basically if it bottoms out your rod, you're giving it something stiffer to pull against and make that and rip out the hook, basically.
And this is for bass fishing.
Yeah.
So it may be a little different with
Yeah.
tuna fishing or offshore fishing, but specifically I'm talking about spotted bait bass and bass in general. You want that rod to have that shock absorber strength at all times. You don't want it bottoming out, and then you also don't want it going back into its resting position at any time. So keep pressure on that fish. Okay, and there is going to be a chance where, if you have 2 pounds of drag, that fish is just taking that drag, right? And he's going for that pylon. And that's when your hands come in effect. When you're holding your reel and you're trying to land this fish, you should always have your thumb on your spool. And if you do need to apply that last second, like kind of pull them out of the pylons, that is your weapon right there. You're going to use your thumb to increase the drag. So you're probably not going to bottom it out, but you're not going to put maximum drag on there. But if that fish is taken off towards that pylon and you've got loose drag on there, like I like it, you always have your thumb to pull that thing out.
It's like your second. It's like your second drag system, but you don't want to pinch it hard or stop it.
Yeah, it's
Right.
it's a dance, man. Once you get that thing hooked up, these big ones, you want it to be a dance. You don't want that thing to take off and never stop running. You don't want your drag that loose, but you do want your drag set up to where it's not going to bottom out that pole, and it keeps the pressure on them constantly. If you do get in a moment though that you need to apply some more, use your thumb. That's where your hands come in effect. Use your thumb, pull it out from whatever he's trying to get towards, and then go back to the fight. Don't give these fish an inch either. So like when you're watching Major League Fishing, those pros,
Yeah.
they'll hook that thing and they don't stop reeling. They are trying to get that thing in. Every second that fish has is another second that it has a chance to throw that hook or break that line. So you want to try to get that thing in, the big one. If you're tournament fishing, I'm always talking about tournament fishing.
Yeah.
You want to try to get that thing in as fast as possible. Don't give that fish an inch or a second.
Nice.
So reel. Use your thumb to pull them out if you need to, but use your rod and use that drag.
Shout out to Todd. It says, "What's up from the Sierras?" What up, Todd? Nice, dude. Very cool. Hope you're enjoying your vacation.
Todd?
Sounds awesome.
Okay, another thing to talk about is the rod selection. So if you go out, and this is your only setup, you'll still catch spotties on it.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about raising your percentages of landing those big fish, not breaking off so much. And the rod I just showed you is set up for that type of fishing. But if you have a 2-pound fish and you have a rod like this is about how much shock absorber that fish is going to have. So every time, if you have a rod that's rated too high for the fish you're trying to catch, which in this case is a spotty, every time that fish pulls on this rod, it's going to want to go back up to that rested position.
Yeah.
And once it goes up to that rested position, that fish is going to have that split second to throw this bait. So it's important to set up the right line, the right reel, drag, and the right rod to land these big spotties in a tournament. You can go out there and catch them with this, but there's a possibility that because this thing's not rated for that weight, that it's just going to keep coming up to that rested position, and it'll give that fish that opportunity to throw that hook.
Is that your MMFC rod?
No, this is my Daiwa Proteus boat
Oh, I
rod.
see. I remember that.
I only bring that out I'm not going to bring that out here. That's for special occasions only. I haven't really even used it yet.
So, I keep doing that. I got something to share. I guess something to add to that to that last comment or the last section. I don't know if you do this or not, but sometimes, like especially when if you're fishing the kid caster, right, a little fishing rod, right, without realizing it, if you feel like you caught something that's like more than the little rock can handle, and your like your arm is at a certain angle, and it's taking more than the drag can handle, and you want to kind of like ease up on it, kind of give it a little bit of you actually just lower your arm a little bit.
The rod's fully bottomed out.
Yeah, start lowering your arm, but keep the bend in the rod.
But
I find that
do that, you're giving that fish a split second.
No, as long as you have that same amount of bend, right? You're giving the same
constant pressure.
It's kind of like you said, dancing with it. Like instead of you're finessing it with your thumb, right? By like adjusting how much pressure you're adding and subtracting to the current drag, right?
Right.
I do this sometimes when like when I have the fish close to the boat or to the kayak, right? And it's maybe like 5-6 feet in the water still, like from the surface, and it has this last big run, right?
Right.
And my drag is always too tight, right? So instead of letting it pull against my drag, I'll lower the rod tip as I let it run a little bit so that my rod doesn't bottom out. Does that make sense?
Does to me, yeah.
But
it's like a dance, because you'll see guys that you start out in this position, right?
Yeah.
But then the fish is going this way, and you need to adjust
Yes.
to get them to where you want to go. Is what you're saying,
right? Or even if it just decides to do one last run before it gets to the boat, right? It sees the boat and it takes off or tries to go deep, it could rip off at that point. Or I give it like I don't slack out the rod. I keep the bend in the rod, right? I keep the bend in the rod, but I move the whole rod kind of down from where I'm holding it, right? Like I lower my hand, or
right.
I don't point
so
the rod
the
down.
The angle of the line is not like it changes the angle of the line, which changes, I guess, the bend of your rod. Is what you're saying.
I try to keep the bend of the rod the same, but I lower my hand. So my rod is bent up here. I lower it, and it gives the fish about a foot of action to go down, but it doesn't give them any slack. The rod is still bent just the same. It's still taut. Does that make sense? So like, but
Totally.
I guess what I'm doing is I'm playing the fish with the rod bend and the position of the rod relative to the fish, as opposed to trying to add and subtract drag to the spool with my thumb.
Totally, yeah, I agree with that 100%.
That's interesting.
You're doing the dance.
Doing
So
the dance,
that
but
thing
a
is,
different way.
Instead of having it in this position, you may have to lower it down to this position to adjust or the line angle or the fish.
Right, or you keep that same angle like you had it up there, and instead of tilting it down, you lower your whole setup. So, you know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. Like
it's still bent right here, right? And
right.
you saw that bend going, and then it takes off on you, and it's going to pull you down and break you off. So you just kind of lower it down a little bit, but you still have the same bend. It's weird. And that's why I don't think I ever had to do. That's why I've never done the such a low drag, and then add drag with my thumb as needed. It's not like that's what you're doing. You're adding drag to your spool as needed, and that gives you flexibility, because I could get caught off guard. It just takes off on me and breaks me off. You won't, because if you're caught off guard, the spool is not. It can't pull hard enough against the spool, which makes sense. I think your way is a better option.
Once you get that fish away from the bottom, once you get him like in, let's say, open water, if you can keep constant pressure, there's a really good chance you're going to land that fish, as long as you don't lose him right when he comes out of the water. Because once you get him up there, let him wear himself out a little bit. Don't, like I said, don't give him a second.
Yeah.
But you don't need to worry about like pumping. Let the drag and the rod do their work. That fish is going to wear out really quick, these little fish. And then once you get it up, just keep reeling, get that thing in. So, I mean, but the key is not to give that fish a second, because they will get away. And, another thing about having your drag roman that tight, if you have it buttoned down like that, and it is a truly big, 16, 17 inch fish, that initial hit, because they're violent.
Yeah.
That initial hit, that initial run.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe, that may be the point where you lose that. A lot of people lose their fish
right on the first run.
the initial contact. And that's either because maybe they had an abrasion in the line that they didn't know about, or the fish instantly hit a pylon or something, or that their drag is set too tight. So let's also talk about not only that, but while you're casting it, positioning yourself for success. So let's just take your fish in the docks, for instance, because a lot of us do that. When you're casting at it, make sure that your bait is in a position to where if it does hook up, you're not looped around the pylon. So
Yes.
If you're going this way down the pylon, you're going to cast in front of the pylon. You're not going to cast behind it, because that gives that fish that opportunity to just run around and break you right off. So you got to position yourself correctly too.
Sorry. What up, Roger? Roger Stern in the house. I also see Aaron. What's up, Aaron? Welcome back. Welcome, guys. Nightball has a comment that says he responds to anybody that says hey or hi, right? He responds with like, hey, username. Like for example, it says Roger Stern made it. Time to get sweaty. so that time to get sweaty phrase is from my gaming channel, guys. When you're playing video games, there's two types of players. There's bots, the guys that are new that have that run around like beginner players, like a computer bot, right? And there's sweats. Sweats are the guys that play the game too much and they're really good at playing. You see those guys, and instead of walking around, they're like sliding everywhere, like in and out of doors and trying to juke you out. That's a sweat. So that's where that comment comes from. I'll need to maybe take it out of this stream.
Sweaty?
Time to get sweaty. So anyway, it's funny.
I actually like that term, sweaty. I'm probably a sweaty fisherman.
Like you're sweating, like you're
gassing.
Like like you're trying hard, basically. You're like a try hard. So I mean, I guess you could apply that to fishing too. You know,
heck yeah.
Like definitely, Brian's definitely a sweaty fisherman. Like he's
I take that as a compliment.
He's trying hard for sure. I like it. Get sweaty, let's go.
But that's when that day comes though. Normally I'm just laying down on my deck having a good day, but when the day comes, I'm definitely getting sweaty.
That's so funny.
Okay, and then a lot also. Let's talk about hook set, Roman. So for me, different lures have different hook sets. Like let's take the adobo drop shot, for example.
All right.
So the drop shot is where you actually are just kind of twitching it in, and all of a sudden you feel a pressure normally, like something grabbed it.
Okay.
And sometimes they just inhale it. They don't.
Yep.
It's not like that violent hit.
Yep.
And with like that type of lure, you're gonna set that hook. And when you set that hook, at Salty, I yell at him because it doesn't set hard enough. You're setting that hook because a lot of these hooks are pretty big. Maybe not the adobo drop shot hook, but these hooks, to get it to penetrate that mouth and get that barb and that whole hook through a spotty's mouth, it's not a hook set like this. You're not just doing this. You set the hook on that type of lure, or like an underspin or the Ned rig. You probably have a pretty good hook set, right?
Hook set on the Ned rig is easy. But yeah, you're right, because because remember, the fish is suspended in water, right? Have you ever tried pushing somebody in water? Like it's hard. It's easy to push somebody in water. It's easy to carry somebody in the water because they're weightless. So if you do a little soft hook set, all it's gonna do is it's gonna move the fish up instead of going through the fish, right? You remember, there's nothing holding the fish in place when you set the hook. You gotta set it hard enough that it penetrates before the fish gets a chance to move out of the way, just based on this buoyancy, right? Real quick, Dro, welcome. Late, but first time catching these live, dude. I'm glad you're here. A round of applause for first time live watcher Dro. Welcome.
Bro, if you like it, subscribe, man.
Everybody say what's up to Dro. Say hello, welcome to the community. Dro, are you on our Discord? Exclamation point Discord, dude. Get on there. Continue the conversation with the community. It's a fun group. It's a fun group. I see Brad. What up, Brad? I see you in there. David. Is that Dave Rage? I think that's Dave Rage with another username. Nice. Cool.
So hook set. Yeah, if you've ever taken a hook and try to get it through a fish's mouth or through the skin, or ever messed around with a hook, or even getting the hook out, you can see how much pressure it takes. And when I'm fishing the lightweight setup with that lightweight drag, sometimes you have to use your hands, your thumb, to put a little bit of pressure on that to make sure you get a good hook set. If you don't get a good hook set, probably not going to land that big fish, especially those bigger ones. To get into that big fish's upper lip, bottom jaw, takes a little bit of pressure. Okay, but that's with that style bait. And let me talk about my A rig, dude.
So I got a question. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
On that 2-pound drag. When you send the hook crazy, that's why you have to set the hooks extra hard, right? Because otherwise a spool will give out if you don't set it. If you just do a dinky one, the spool will give out a little bit.
And there's a dance with that hook set where
Mm-hmm.
if I feel that like I'm catching fish and it doesn't feel like it's setting them good, I'll use my thumb during the hook set. You know, don't swing so hard you're gonna
Yeah.
bottom it out and break it,
Yeah.
but use your thumb. It's something that you're gonna learn with practice on how to swing, how much to swing, and how to use your thumb and make sure that because sometimes my son will mess with my drag. Like he for some reason he stores all of his reels with his drag totally loose because he thinks it's going to crush the washers.
Yeah.
I don't do that because every time I do that, I go out and the first fish I go to catch, I go to set the hook and it's like, you know, there's no drag. I'm like, darn it. And I'm trying to set the drag while I'm doing it. So it is a dance with the drag, your thumb, and the hook set. And you're only going to get good at that with time on the water. Okay, so A-rig. So if you've ever fished with me while I'm fishing my A-rig, salty, cyborg fishing, all you guys, you know that with that particular lure, I've got 65-pound braid on basically a steel rig, right? Nothing's gonna break. I've got it buttoned down pretty much all the way. With that particular setup, stand back because I am swinging for the fences because if I feel a nibble, I am gonna try to land that fish every time. I think that's one of a good tournament success thing with the A-rig is that you're able to just go to town, set that hook, and then there's no fight. If you've got that fish hooked, you should be full speed trying to get that thing in. You should have them up on top of the water doing a water ski across the top and bounce that thing in the boat as fast as possible. That is the good thing about the A-rig. You don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about them breaking off because if you got them, you got them. Versus the finesse fishing.
Right. Very cool.
And then there's other lures like tube baits or the submission fishing jigs to where you're vertically fishing, right? And you're watching your spool and all of a sudden you just see a little tick, you know, it's in an open spool mode, right? So it's just falling. And you're watching that spool, and if that thing has some type of slowdown or tick, then you're going to engage that thing and then just wind up and lift up. With that type of vertical fishing, I don't really set the hook. I just kind of let the reel, like you're almost fishing like a circle hook. When you have a circle hook and you get a bite, you just wind down on it and you lift up. You're not doing the Hail Mary A-rig hook set. And that to me, with vertical fishing, that's how I fish those too. It's kind of just a wind down to get the pressure and then just lift up. So different lures require different hook sets.
Got it. Perfect. All right. Any questions? So we got the fish. We loaded. We landed it. Have we landed it yet?
No, we haven't got that far. We're way away from
30
that.
minutes in, man. Let's do this.
Okay, I'll wrap it up here. So the main thing I want to emphasize, guys, is that make sure that you have the correct rod for the fish you're fishing. I don't want to pick on Zachary Riggs, but I'm going to. Zach, when you put out that video, first thing I saw was you're fishing like a rod like this, like a heavy-duty, ugly stick rod, and that will catch you the fish. But I'm interested, Zach, how many fish were you losing? How many were breaking off, or how many were getting away because the hook was wearing its hole in its mouth? Because you're fishing, and I know Zach has gone from a heavy rod like this to a more lighter weight setup. Zach, did your fishing hookup percentage improve? Has your spotty bowl numbers improved since you've gone to a lighter setup? Because when I see people fishing with this for spotties, all I see is the fish getting away. In my mind, that's the fish getting away from you because it just doesn't have that shock absorber that you should have. So I'm curious. I'm waiting for Zach's answer.
Yeah, I think Zach's
here. Good evening.
I think Zach has evolved a long way since that video. Was that almost a year ago?
He has. And the only reason I'm saying that is because Zach Riggs has a YouTube channel, put out a video. And at the end of the video, he said, hey, anybody that's watching this video, please tell me if you see that I'm doing something wrong. And he was doing everything right. But the only thing I spotted is that he had like an offshore pole fishing for a 1-pound fish.
Yep.
And I think your hookup percentage, Zach, would go down because of that. And maybe the sensitivity of feeling things. And I'm just curious. Just to take him as an example.
Very cool. Very cool. Hookup increased, but it took a while to learn the new gear. Oh, okay, interesting.
Hookup increase. Yeah. Okay. So that's good. Yeah. Learning the new gear. When you first go from a heavy rod to a lighter bass setup like that, it feels like you're fishing a noodle. You're like, what the heck? And then when you actually hook a fish, you're like, holy mackerel. It feels like you feel like you're actually in a fight with this fish now. You're not just manhandling it in.
Aaron said he started using moderate action rods for everything in the bay. Yeah, Aaron, I prefer the moderate action rods too. Is moderate the same as medium?
If he's talking about the action, I use the fast action, but medium power.
Yeah,
he's talking about.
Okay, that's what I mean.
I think you're talking about medium power. That's perfect. Medium heavy, even if that's still good. It depends on what lure you're fishing. Like Roman, when you fish your crankbait, you're fishing a medium power. That has that big parabolic kind of feel on the crankbait. But when you're fishing the A rig, you're going to be obviously fishing a little heavier rod. So it depends on what lure you're fishing.
Yeah, cool. All right.
Like when I fish vertically with the submission fishing, I'm fishing like a noodle rod. You've seen that rod. It's like full on Phoenix feather bendo rod.
So you have the fish, you got the bite, you fought it all the way to the boat or kayak. What do you do next?
Okay, for me, the most critical point is getting it out of the water and into the boat. So many people have lost it. I've only got 2 days kayaking experience, so I'm going to rely on you for that. For the boat, is bother salty because I do this every time. If I bring out that net and I'm fishing solo, I'm giving that fish that second while I'm holding this and holding that. I feel more comfortable with a spotty, the 2-pound spotty, bouncing it in the boat and taking my chances on that versus it hitting the net, maybe the net knocking it off or something like that. So for me personally, this is not everybody. I bounce the baby.
So that means that you let it hit the deck?
I lift it up
and
I drop it into the deck.
Oh my god.
That's how I do it. I do it because
you care?
Because I want that fish and not giving him 1 second. So it's all one motion. I don't stop reeling. Yeah. And once he gets to that surface and I know that I have my rod the correct height, I just lift and set him in.
Okay, that makes sense.
I've been in so many boats where the netter has lost the fish.
Yeah.
Or you're trying to hold the rod, that fish is still going, and you're trying to get that net in there to get him, and you've lost that fish. But that's just me. Other guys, I think Kevin eases it over and he's an expert at that net and does it all nicely. The net holds it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I'm not that guy. And maybe when I get more kayak experience, I will be that guy. But in my boat, I bounce the baby.
All right. So on my kayak, I don't use a net a lot of the time. Most of the time, I would say like 99% of the time, I don't use a net. I do stop. I stop reeling. And at the same time, start lifting my rod tip up. When there's about a rod's length of line still out. And when I stop reeling, I'm bringing up the rod, and that keeps the pressure on the fish, and it's bringing it towards me. And once it gets to a certain point where I can reach the line, I do this. I hold the rod, so I'm doing this. Oh, I'm looking at the camera. I bring the rod tip up, and then do this. Hold it, and as I'm bringing it back, the line is coming down, and it's gonna come right to my hand. And pushing it back, I catch the line, and I lift the fish out of the water with the line. I have like about 2 feet to a foot of line between the actual lure and where my hand is pulling the line out of the water, and it's like in one motion, so the fish never really comes off of power. And then like the thumbnail to this video, you see me holding a fish here. I'll go full screen. See me holding a fish here and my rod over here. It's because I've done this. I brought the rod back. I lifted the rod up, brought it back, caught the line, and lifted the fish out of the water. And now I have both things in my hands right there. So that's how I did it on the kayak. If you don't have a net. But yeah, that's how it's worked out for me. I haven't lost that many fish, surprisingly.
I think on a kayak but with a boat, it's like I'm throwing it in a gigantic bucket. Think of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
like
easier on a boat.
It has no chance once it gets over my rail and hits the deck. It can flop all at once.
Yeah.
But on a kayak, it can hit your deck and then two flops things
Exactly.
out. So
Yeah.
you got to be a little more careful in the yak.
So
I think.
So when I bring it up, I just make sure that I'm holding it over the deck. So it just, if it does fall off the hook, it has a better chance of landing in the kayak. But yeah.
So you're a bouncer too. You bounce the baby.
I guess you could say I don't let it hit the deck. I grab it, hold it up. My fish never touches the deck. I leave it on the hook spinning. I'll let it stop spinning. I'll let it calm down for like a couple seconds, and then I'll if I got a good hook set on the palate of the fish's mouth, then the fish will be sticking out of his face. The hook will be sticking out of his face, and then his bottom lip will be free. I can lip it, and then once I lip it, then I let go of my fishing line, and I undo the hook, pop the hook out, and then I put support, lift it up, and I got a fish. Oops, there it is. That's how I do it, and then I just release it from there. I try not to let it hit the deck.
I would say that's how I do my Sunday fishing,
Yeah.
like cruising fishing. You get it, you enjoy it, you pull it up, take the hook out nicely, take a picture of it, release it carefully.
Yeah, but even tournament fishing, if you let it hit the deck and a hook pops out, you're gonna be chasing the fish around the deck, slipping around.
That's true.
I've seen those Bass Pro guys also do the same thing. Like some of them will hit the deck, but some of them will just will lift it up, and as they're lifting it up for the flip to the boat, they'll catch the line with their hand and just kind of like do that, and it's easy, it's faster.
You're in that league. You're not allowed to let the fish touch the deck. If you touch
Oh,
the deck,
is that why they do that?
So
Okay. Yeah.
they've gone no nets and no touching decks to protect that fish line. So
Good.
In most fishing leagues now, when you watch these guys being videoed, you see them pull that thing out, and sometimes they reach in the water and they just grab it while it's still in the water and lift it out. Because if it touches the deck, it's a penalty. So
Interesting.
They've gone to protecting those fish that way. No more nets and no more letting it touch the deck. The only thing it touches is that hook, your hand, and then they weigh it, and then it's back in the water.
Yeah, that's very true. Ironfish has a good point about like grabbing the line when your rod is still under pressure. That's true. That makes sense. After I lift the rod up and I'm bringing it back here, it's not under load. It's just basically the fish is on the surface. His head is usually like out of the water, but its tail is still in the water. So it would be hard for him to turn on me and load up the rod again.
Yeah, I didn't see his question, but is it about the loaded rod?
Loaded rod, yeah.
The fish throws that crankbait.
Yep.
Who was it? Was it Tylor?
No.
Somebody took a Damiki to the neck.
Oh,
like a couple
I remember
years
that.
Ago. Remember that?
Yeah.
Because I think they did something like that.
Yeah.
And
Also,
the loaded rod took him in the neck.
Yeah. Also, you're not. I don't reach in the water to try to lip the fish while it's in the water. When I grab the line, it's got a good 2 feet from the fish. So even if it does throw it, like it'd be kind of hard for it to get my hand. Knock on wood. Hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened yet. But I'm usually like a good 2 feet off the actual lure when I'm grabbing the line. So.
Yeah, and once you grab that line too, you can instantly open your bail, hit the clutch button, and that'll take all pressure off it too. Yeah. So that's the point where you could do that too.
So in the kayak, it's kind of a pain in the butt to do that. So that's why I leave the rod length of line, right? Because as soon as I grab the fish and I have I have the fishing line with the fish on it, right? And then I go lip it. When I go to lip it, I have to free that hand that had the reel, right? So I'll set the rod next to me in the kayak, and that extra line that I left out means I don't have to worry about clutching it or unclutching it and having the line go everywhere. It's just ready. I put the rod down. I have enough slack because I have rod's length away, and when I put the rod down, I put it kind of like halfway back on my next to my seat, I guess. So I have plenty of spare line to unhook the fish and stuff, right? So anyway, it's like one of those things where it's like a bunch of little details that you don't worry about until it's actually happening, and you kind of learn it over time. But yeah.
So with that, I want to wrap it up. But the reason I brought this up was because so many people are saying about how they lost the big fish. And I think to win these tournaments, guys, the spotty bowl in particular, you're going to have to learn how to not only find them, hook them, but that's a big portion of it, but a pretty big portion of it also is actually being able to land those fish. And I'm going to tell you guys, my advice is to keep your drag looser than you think. Don't button it down. Set it up for the line you're using and have the proper rod for that reel and that line, and that's going to give you the best chance of that thing not breaking off. Don't forget though, use your thumb. That's one of your best weapons, your hands. dance with that fish and get that fish out of water. And you know what? It's a little different when you're fishing grass and when you're fishing in the pylons, because the pylons, that thing can be gone in an instant. So you have to be able to pull that thing away from that pylon. Use your thumb, but the second you get away, don't think you can just keep thumbing and muscle that thing in, because you're gonna, that hook, when that thing has no drag and that pole is bottomed out, that hook is just pulling and pulling and pulling and making that hole just a micro bigger. And then when that fish does turn its head and that hook has made that hole bigger, that fish is gone. It will go. So you don't want to give them a second, and you don't want to put too much drag on them.
All right, so let's talk about this very exciting announcement. A couple, along with the rest of the announcements we have today. So, if you haven't hit that like button yet, please do hit that like button, and let's go into the announcements.
No, we got one more thing I want to talk about.
Let's talk about what's coming up next. I don't want to. Let's tell everybody what's coming up next. So we got announcements. We got this device.
PB shout outs.
PB shout outs. And
this device, which is going to save you tons of money.
Boom. So stay tuned. We're going to teach you how to save money. We're going to do PB shout outs. And we have some more announcements, including a very special announcement coming up. Okay, so let's do this.
Yeah, very big announcement.
Okay. What do you want to jump into next?
So this guy right here. So I'm going to jump right into it. So
okay,
I've been showing you this for like 2 weeks. And what is this, Roman? Do you know what this is?
Take
a guess. No, it's not the. What is those? What was those things that kids
an antenna? A mini antenna.
No, the Teletubbies. It's not the Teletubby thing. No.
That's awesome.
No, it's not an antenna. This is actually a device that will get you back a lure.
Very nice.
So, how many times have we snagged up a lure on a pylon, right? And you've gone every angle, and you've got to the point to where you're just like, you're gonna do the death pull.
Yeah.
That's the only option you got left, right?
Yep.
It's either the line's gonna break or that thing's gonna pop off. Well, this device right here is meant to do, before you do the death pull, you're gonna do this. Let me show you what it is. So this thing weighs, it's lead. It weighs about 8 ounces, and it's got this little ring on the back.
Yep.
And it's got this triangle on the front. And what this is designed to do is to slide down a taunt line that has got a lure on it, that's stuck to a pylon or stuck to whatever's on the bottom down there. Slide down, and then while it's sliding down the line, it's going to hit that lure and knock it off, and then you're going to pull it back up. Let me show you how it works. Let me show you how it works. It's $19.99. If you act right now, we'll throw in. That's my info work. Let me get this thing set up here. So I'm going to set this thing up as if it was snagged on a pylon. So you see that bait right there? See this thing, it's not coming off, right? I'm pulling on it. That thing's not coming off, right? What you're going to do is you're going to take this thing and you're going to slide it into this hook right here, into this ring.
Yep.
And then it just slides in like this, and now it's on the line, right?
Yep.
Because it's like a split ring.
Yeah.
So now it's on that line. And I'm gonna show you what to do after this, but you're gonna slide this thing down this line. Can you see it?
Yep.
And this is what's gonna happen. It's gonna hit that lure, right?
Yep.
And it's gonna knock that lure free. You might have to do it a couple times, but it's gonna hit that lure. See how hard it hit that?
Yeah.
It's hooked on my eye, but if it was hooked onto a normal, like something on a dock or something like that, normally that will knock it right off.
They're harder.
So you're gonna keep doing that. I only have 3 feet of line to deal with.
But how are you able to retrieve it?
Okay, that's next. Okay, so
no, like how
that does.
like how are you able to?
I'll show you. I know your question.
Wind it up.
Bring this back up.
Yeah.
I'll show you that. Okay, so that's how this thing works. It uses all its weight, it uses all its might, and it bounces that thing so it comes off whatever it's stuck on.
Yep.
It has this little piece here, so if you're fishing something with a bottom hook or a treble hooker like that, when you pull this back up, that piece right there will grab those hooks.
Right.
So mainly it'll come off from this circle, the weight just hitting the hook and knocking it off.
Right.
So that's the purpose of it. Okay, how do you get it back? It comes with this mess.
Oh, okay, good. Got it. Okay.
A paracord. This is what it comes with, but you're not going to use this. And it has a little hook on it, and you hook it onto the back, and you pull it up with this.
Yeah.
That right there will not, if you use that, you're never going to want to use this thing because every time you bring it out, you're going to have to undo the Christmas light, knot. So you're not going to use that. What you're going to do is you're either going to go buy one of these.
Okay.
You know what that is?
There we go. Is that a dog leash? Yeah.
Retractable dog leash. So you're going to buy one of these. You keep that in your kayak or your boat. I'm going to take this off. And you're going to hook that up to this so that you just keep that thing aside. And that's how easy it comes off, by the way.
Yeah.
You're going to keep this thing, in one of your boxes, hooked up like this. And then when you get that lure stuck, you just wind that line through there. You pull out as much slack as you think you're going to need. I think this thing goes like 30 feet maybe.
Nice.
And then you're going to hook that thing on there and you're just going to slide it down.
Yeah.
And it's going to pull all this in. And then when you're done, you just pull it up and then you just pull in all your slack. And then you can store it just like that. So
yeah, and
you've got a retrieval device.
That makes sense. And if you have like a something with treble hooks, and they'll hook onto that piece, and then you can just pull it out with the dog leash instead of the
jig. If you have
line.
if you don't have like 65-pound braid and you've just totally embedded that thing, you're probably not going to get it out. But if you're fishing a lightweight stuff, I would say like 80% of the time these things work. There's a ton of different ones on the market. Another cool thing to do with this thing is you just use your, if you have a broken rod and a cruddy reel, you can just put 65-pound braid on that and connect it to that and use this as your retrieval device. So you don't want to buy a dog leash or you just have one of these laying around. So they make them in all kinds of shapes. This one, I picked this one just because it's small. They have one that's like the size of a shake weight and it weighs like a whole pound. And that thing really works well. It clamps on the line. You slide it down. It looks like almost looks like a gym weight,
Oh yeah, it's like a full impact.
And it's like a 1 pound weight. It's like twice as heavy as this thing, and it slides down there, and that thing really knocks out. But for the little stuff that we're fishing, I think this is made by Luz. It's called the Get Her Back Luz.
Nice.
I think it's like $15 maybe.
That's funny.
But it works well. And then there's another type that is this type, which is for above the water. Same concept, but it opens up and then you clamp your line in between it. Right. And then if you're hooked on a dock line, you're hooked up on a tree branch or something like that, it's something up high, you throw this, it has the same type setup where you hook it up to the line, but you send it like a football down it. It's super lightweight, but it's for above the water. It's sink. So this one's for above the water, lightweight, gets you off if you get on a dock line, good luck. This will never work. But if you get on a little tree branch or something, you can sing that thing down there. It'll work most of the time. But guys, try this thing out. I think it's a good investment. $15. I bet you pay for itself in like 2 outings.
There you go. Bam. Very nice. Very nice.
But this thing, dude, that it comes with is just a mess. You'll hate bringing it out if you keep this because it's an impossible knot, and you won't want to use it ever because it's just such a hassle. Dog leash, old rod.
Very nice.
That's my recommendation on that.
Perfect. There you go. Don't lose your lures.
I've been waiting to show that thing off for like 3 weeks, Roman.
That's good.
I had this thing sitting there, thinking about it, and I'm like, I got to show these guys this thing.
I'd probably use that. Like I'd probably do like unclip my A-rig and then clip that to my A-rig setup, and then use that to zing it down there. But that makes sense.
Yeah, you could do whatever you want to hook. You could put a clip on there to one of your rods and just zing it down there and bring it up. But if you if you got your last big jig that you like for the that you don't want to lose, that's a better setup than the actual kind of just give it the death. But what's a shake weight? Oscar asks. You want to demonstrate, Roman?
No, thanks. What up, Muto?
Shake weight was a popular exercise in the 90s.
Funny. All right, so
looks cool. Like a rubber chicken. Yeah, it does kind of look like that.
Yeah. What's interesting? Yeah, you can paint it like a rubber chicken.
Can you demonstrate, Salty?
I've seen people do. I've seen people that I've tried this once. It actually works. I've tried where like you don't have a lure retriever and you get it stuck like on the side of a tree or something. And you unscrew the reel off of your reel seat You basically take off your reel.
Oh, I know what you're gonna do.
And you full send your rod, but that just destroys your guide.
Oh
like
my
front
god.
guide.
I don't know. If you have a $150 rod.
Hey, you gotta use a $150 rod to retrieve your $15 lure. Duh.
For some reason, I think I know when in freshwater we're fishing really shallow.
Yeah.
And if I can see that thing like down a little branch, I reel it all the way in and I take
that's true.
rod to do it. If I can see it, as far as I can reach, I just start jabbing it like a thing, using it as a sword, which is probably not a good thing, but I want to get that lure off. I want to keep fishing. I don't want to retie, right?
Right.
That's the last 20 gram type of yeah. If you are down to your last 20 gram and you want to save it, get one of these.
Awesome.
All right. Anything to add on to that, Roman?
No, I think that's good. I dig it.
All right, let's go into. If you guys are new to the show, which I think we have one new person here, we got a segment here called PB Shoutouts. I'm gonna let you do the commercial for that, Roman, while I do my screen share.
Let me get this on here. Bam. Hit that like button, guys. If you haven't hit the like button yet, thank you so much for taking care of that. Let's see. Let's get this PB shoutouts thing going. I remember which button I put it on. I remember. I think it's this one. All right, here we go. If you want to be featured on a segment of PB shoutout, today's a special PB shoutout, though, isn't it, Brian?
It is. It's man cave shoutouts.
It's a
Fish
man.
And man caves.
It's PB shoutout, also man cave shoutouts, fishing cave shoutouts. So here we go. If you sent in your picture to be featured, thank you. If you want to send in your pictures to get featured for next week for PB shoutouts, your best fish, your favorite catches, it's PB shoutouts, but it doesn't have to be your personal best. It could be your personal best trip. It could be your funnest outing. We're just looking for fishing stories to share and share the stoke of fishing. So here we go. Coming right up, we have PB shoutouts. Let's see where it says here. Boom. Ready for air guitar?
I'm ready.
We've seen you out on the water. They say you fishing harder. I guess we'll find out this week on our PB Shoutout!
Bam. What's up, Cal?
Let's go, Cal.
What's going down, Cal? Cal in the chat? Hope so.
Yeah, he is. I think someone here.
You guys don't know, that's Cal up front, and this is PB Shoutouts. I'm going to go ahead and read off some of these fish caught this week. Fish number 1. Bam. Look at that sucker. Who is that handsome guy? That's Tylor.
Dude, that thing's a huge
up
fish.
There and what is it? Up north in Orange County, I guess. So
crazy.
Showing us up what's up down here. Look at that. I'm gonna have to make a trip up to this place and see what's going on. I've seen two 3-pound, almost 3-pound fish pulled out of these bays lately, so I'm gonna have to start making some road trips up there to see what's going down. We can't let their spotties be bigger though, right?
Right.
It's a deal. All right. So here's the story. I got this thing in Huntington Harbor on Thursday, May 26th. Got it on a 7'11" Terramar rod with a Corrado 200 E5 using a 3/4 ounce dark sleeper. Okay, so that is the second big fish we've had on PB Shoutouts with the dark sleeper. Dang. What is going on?
I have no faith in
Remember
that.
Remember that? We had that 19-inch one caught by Nate.
All right, I got to fish dark sleeper, dude. I got to fish dark sleeper.
I'm going to put some more time on that.
It's crazy.
25-pound, 40-pound Power Pro with a 25-pound leader. He wasn't finessing nothing. He's chucking it out there. My buddy and I just got off work. He was in the mood for fishing spotties, which we're always in the mood for. So we took his boat out and we were pitching baits into the shallows within 6 inches of the shoreline and slow rolling them into the deep water, where we were whacking them for almost every cast. I made a cast, and the spotty rolled on the dark sleeper right when I dragged him into the deep water, which was 10 to 15 feet. Went over to the rocks, fully dog-boned it. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds cool. Fully dog-boned it. Coach, definition, please.
Buried it, dude. Buried the hook.
Gotcha. Oh,
I'm just guessing.
Fully dog-boned it. Yeah, buried it. That makes sense. Man, that's a good one, Tyler. We're going to have to add that to it when we have a vocab night. It tried to go into structure, but I was using 25-pound line, so I got him out of it. Good job, Tyler. That is a nice spotty. He does not have it on a picture of it on a scale or a measuring device, but he thinks that thing could be 3 pounds. That would be a big fish, Tyler. Next time, get a scale out. Get the picture on that scale. We got If somebody catches a 3-pound fish, we want to definitely document that thing.
Very cool.
So nice catch, Tyler. Good job there. Next up. Oh my gosh, these guys again. So if you don't know who that is Sean. He's half of the team of the Bait Barge Bandits. What's up, Sean? Him and Joey Basson are on here almost every week catching some kind of freak fish at the bait barge in the middle of the night. So look at that. He caught that on a bass rig, Roman.
Dang.
And I'll read the story here, but he wrote a long story about this fish too. But that is a big fish to pull out of the bay. Is that a 7-gill shark? Looks like it, right?
Yeah, no, it's not 7-gill. It's like a...
I'm trying to ID that.
Maybe like a soup fin or something?
Coach. Soup fin? Okay. So me and Joey were grinding at the bait barge for over 2 hours. Not even a bite. Conditions were rough. 30-mile-per-hour winds. What? We decided to leave to fish another zone. Started catching good-sized sand bass in pretty shallow water, about the 18 to 20-foot range. We go back to the bait barge at 3:30 a.m. So that's when this is going down. I'm never out there that time. So that's when you got to get up. 3:30 a.m. Second cast, he felt a heavy thump and set the hook super hard. For 5 seconds, I just feel massive head shakes. I told Joey, I've got a big one, bro. After 5 seconds, this thing started dumping me. Went completely underneath the bait barge dock to the other side and started towing the skiff.
Jeez.
Imagine if you got that on your kayak, Roman.
Jeez.
Towing the skiff.
Got the line.
And yeah, you can't take down 2 barrels.
That's crazy.
I started to finally gain some line on him underneath the bait barge. And then he towed us the complete opposite way. I backed off the drag because I knew I was in for a long one. Every time I gained some line, he started dumping again. My back was cramping. Fought this fish. Haven't fought a fish this size in a while on a bass rod. We finally got the shark vertical. And it sucked himself to the bottom. Oh, we've all been there, right? You finally think you got it, and then it sucked itself to the bottom, held himself on the ground for about 10 minutes. I'm holding on to it and telling Joey, we can't give up. I'm sure Joey's like, man, you're hooked on the rocks, dude. You're done. But Sean would not give up. After 12 minutes of us being vertically, I finally popped him off to the bottom, and the fish came. Joey brought it into the boat. That's an accomplishment right there. That's a big fish in that little skiff. He has a lot of experience shark fishing. Yeah, I'm gonna only recommend somebody with a lot of experience landing that thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't put that in my boat.
From his shark experience, he thinks it was 5 feet long at least and over 100 pounds. We took a quick pick. Joey revived it super quick and watched it swim back into the depths to fight another day.
Oh, nice.
Awesome. The gear he caught it on was a Phoenix Ultra Swim Bait Classic 1.5 ounce Scorpion and a 300 size reel with 50-pound braid and a 50-pound floral seaguar leader. He caught it on a PK5 from the swim bait, a war bait. Was the swim bait a war bait 1.5 ounce head? Kevin Nakata said it was the biggest fish that's ever been caught on the PK5. I think that's cool. The big swim bait, right? And was super stoked to hear that. My arm is still sore from fighting that fish.
Jeez.
Good job, Sean. It's a big story, but that's a big fish.
It's a crazy
nice
huge fish, dude. Wow.
Bait Barge Bandits, man, on here every week. Joey and Sean out there slaying. Dude. Look for those guys out late at night. Next up, this guy. That's Ironfish Elisio.
Let's go. Elisio? Nice, dude.
Let's go. It's not a 100-pound shark, but guess what? That's his first spotty ever. Come on, we got to get a gong and a round of applause for that one, dude. First spotty ever, Elisio. Let's go. Welcome to the club.
Very cool.
Welcome to an addiction.
Nice.
Here we go. We just showed his kayak last week. It's that awesome red one with all the cool mats on it and everything. Elisio he's all in now, dude. You're all in. Welcome to the club, buddy. I actually caught it between the boats that are stationed on Shelter Island boat launch ramp. We all have fished there because you get so excited you're on the water. You just fish the first structure you see. I was fishing with Benji. Dude came all the way down from Fontana. Dang, nice job, Benji. That's a long drive. Had both my kayaks ready, so we launched out of Shelter Island, fished there for like 5 hours. We started heading on the way back, I saw tons of fish and told him to stop and fish between the boats. So I threw my jig par slow pitch 20 gram, and on the pool, it just felt a huge tug.
Nice.
Started feeling shaking, and I started to reel. The Daiwa Laguna 7-foot rod Fuego LT 2500 spinning reel. It felt great to feel the tug on the line, and I watched the rod bend down. Then on top of that, my dude Benji hooked one like 10 minutes right after. So congrats, guys. First spotty, on to mini. Next step, legal spotty. You'll get him.
Very nice. Dang, so cool. Very
Cool.
nice.
All right, next up, we got Peter 86.
Oh,
Yeah, here we go. He had 20 to 30 minutes to fish before work. It was slack tide, so he almost didn't fish, but decided to go anyways. Within 4 minutes and only a few casts, he caught this guy, smashed his lure, left me pumped the rest of the day. There's nothing like a top water blow up. I 100% agree with that. Here's the bait. He got it on there.
let's go.
He caught it. It was a 19.5-inch Corvina. He caught it on a Daiwa Tatula CT100 Daiwa Procon rod with a Spook Junior Bone color. Nice.
Very nice.
Nothing like a top water bite. Okay, here we go. You guys sent your pictures of your man caves, of your fishing caves. So now we get to show them off. So here we go. Dave Rage up first. Dave Rage.
Very nice. That's cool.
He even labeled it what it is. Clear storage bins. He's got his tackle bags and a yellowtail MMFC. Oh, yellow. It's actually a yellow tail hanging on the wall up there
Oh, that's right. Tail.
above the MMFC sticker. Cool, Dave.
That's cool.
Here's the other setup. Of course, he's got to share his beer fridge.
Nice.
Dang, man. You having a party over there?
Nice.
That's a serious setup. And there's his rod holder. Nice setup there, Dave. Next up, I think this is SoCal Steve.
That's a
He's
cool
the one
setup.
that came up with this idea. What's up? Look at that setup. Where'd you get the locker at? That's pretty cool.
That's cool, yeah.
So it looks like is that a TB metal art? No, that's not a TB metal. He's got the horizontal rod holder. That's pretty cool.
Oh,
Looks
yeah,
like
that's
that's
cool.
his desk where he does all those. That's where you go hide, it looks like.
Yep.
Got your computer gaming out there. First thing I noticed there's a TB metal art right up there on the right.
Nice.
Yellowtail. First thing I noticed, man, dude, you really like iron fishing. That is a lot of irons in there.
I don't see them.
Look above the toolbox. See that Husky label?
Oh, yeah.
Above
Yeah,
it.
that's
It's
a lot
like
of irons. Yep.
tackle shop worth
Yep.
of irons in there. Nice, dude. Nice setup. We'll accept that you're a Cowboys fan. It's okay. You don't have to hide it back there in the corner. We aren't going to say anything. But yeah, that's a nice setup over there. Nice Cowboy sticker. And next up, we got Muto Submission Fishing sent in. Looks like
Nice.
he's got his lights set up over there. Submission Fishing on the video cam right there.
I like it.
Look like you're a busy man in there. Look at that workbench. That's what a fishing workbench should look like.
Dude,
He's
I want
come
that
up with some
workbench
kind of
space. That's so
concoction in
nice.
there. What is he working on? Let me guess here.
You build anything in there.
I'm always eyeballing to see what these guys are doing. What's the WD for? Are you using that for scent like Eric? See the WD? That's a silicone version of WD-42. That's not the regular. Is that something special? And here's his. Remember we had the show about our shelf baits? How come every single person that ever submits has a chase bait as a shelf bait? They look so good, and for
That's
some
so
reason we
funny.
don't use them a lot. I love chase
Yeah.
baits, but man, they go on the shelf a lot. There's some gear from the Savage Drop. So there's his shelf baits, all his leaders. Nice setup there, Muto. I've been in that garage once. Here's my setup.
Oh, nice.
Bench doesn't always look like that. Man, it is filthy. I need to stand that thing down or something. But those are all my shelf baits that usually make it to the shelf. All my stuff I normally use are inside of my boat.
Nice.
The long angle of it. Here's normally what's on that bench is me making these cool baits.
Oh, yeah.
And here we go, Roman. This is for you.
Oh, yeah.
You know what that is?
Fish Hour show notes.
Roman yells at me for doing so many show notes, but that right there, guys, is about 1 year worth of Fishy Hour notes. I take notes before every show, and I thought I'd show a picture of that because I brought it all out and digging through it to review my notes. But that's years worth of notes. Zachary Riggs has convinced me to. I was going to throw all that away, and Zachary Riggs said, "Don't throw that away. One day, use all that to write a book." So
Yeah, it's good.
maybe one day. That's enough notes probably for 2 books. There's what my Fishy Hour set looks like. I'm not going to show that very long. Here's my son in our bass boat.
Nice.
And very last but not least, we got Salty Dangler with the, I don't know if he's definitely the one who motivated me for my man cave, but
Nice.
there is nobody more organized than Salty Dangler. Look at that. Look at that. Look at this jig setup right there. Color, weight. It's got all the Kytex are like straight up and down. Man. Nice
That's so
job,
good.
Salty.
Nice, dude.
Last but not least, I showed you guys my cat last weekend. Her name is Sandy. I told you I was going to make her into a boat cat, and now I have made her officially into her first trip out on the boat. She is my fish spotter now. She did pretty good out on the water. I can't wait till this cat grows up. Hopefully, it'll be my fishing buddy.
That's so
There's
cool.
her looking at her first spotty.
So good.
And with that, Roman, that is PB shoutouts. So I'm going to exit my screen share.
So good. That's awesome. That's awesome. Very cool. Round of applause for everybody that's sending their pictures for their setup. And also for PB shoutouts. Congratulations, everybody. Thank you so much for making the show more entertaining, more fun by sharing your stoke and your setups, guys. Thank you so much. Let's get Brian back in here. That's so good.
Yes, thank you for sending those in. That's pretty cool. I like to see how their man caves and how much time we spend in this stuff.
All right. So next time we're gonna do announcements first because it's already 8:30. Oh,
I'm
8:15.
so sorry.
And I got dadly things to do. Right. I want to finish the show before the kids go to sleep. So
Hey, it's 8:15.
I know. Sorry, 8:15.
Oh my gosh.
So announcements real quick, guys. We have a 1 spot left on the Islander trip. Last opportunity to snag that. If you're interested, type in !trip into the chat. And the reason I say last opportunity is because they will let us dive off of the Islander. And I'm going to open it up to my dive friends. And those guys will take the opportunity to dive SCI anytime. So I might be out there and I might also take my dive gear. So if you're going to go, book the last spot. Go to romancastro.com/fish village. There it is. Nightbot just posted the chat for Yokonator. And you can bring your kayak. It's 2.5 day trip, $9.95. It's gonna be a blast. Food, bait. What else is included? Oh yeah, everything's included except for beer, I guess. And we worked out a special deal with Fish Village with Mike over at Fish Village. He worked a deal with Z-Man. Anybody in my party, anybody in the MMFC group is gonna get a Z-Man care package, basically. Okay,
Nice.
for booking us with the trip. Nobody else on the trip gets it, only we get it. So it's kind of like a little perk. But let's get that booked up. I'm gonna give you guys a couple of days, the rest of the week, and then I'm gonna open it up to my diving friends. If my diving friends wanna jump in with me, then I will make that a fishing/diving trip for myself. Okay. But I'll still be doing both hook and line fishing and diving. So I kind of want to take my dive gear stuff because if I can jump in the water when you guys are fishing, I'll be able to get some really cool shots of you guys fighting your fish.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. So that's one of the announcements. Another announcement real quick is before we get to the major announcement, another announcement real quick is let's see, Jeff over at OCT One Cool Tuna is doing a charter himself, and 2 of the people that were gonna go on the charter dropped out. So he's got some spots open on his charter. I can't remember the exact dates, But if you're interested in going on a charter that's more, I think it's like a 5-day or 3-day. I can't remember off the top of my head. Looking for a charter, hit up Jeff at OCT, One Cool Tuna. He's in our Discord. And let him know you're interested in going on his charter or getting details about his charter. I just don't have it off the top of my head. I forgot to mention it last week and didn't want to forget to mention it here today. Another thing we have for the announcements, Brian, what else we got?
Roman cleaned up Discord a little bit. So if you notice, a few of the channels have been archived.
Yes. So I cleaned up Discord a little bit. I mentioned that I was going to do it a while back. I tidied it up a little bit, got rid of some of the threads that we haven't used in a long time. They've all been moved down to the archive thread that's on the very, 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 very bottom on the left. Don't type in there. Don't use those anymore, right? I haven't locked some of them, but just if you need to go back there and look at some pictures, you can go and look through them. But consider those dead for now. And it's just part of the growing process. You know, we made threads for what we thought we would need. And if those threads aren't getting used, we'll just retire them so we have room for the stuff we are using.
Retired the Jedi Temple. I had so much hope for that.
I know.
Darn.
I know. But
yes, Cal, I have watched Obi-Wan series. We'll talk about that later.
Oh, that's
Cal.
so good. I've been watching it too. And then I added, I renamed the fish types section to fishing reports. That way you guys can put your fishing reports based on the fish that you're catching. But I'm thinking of maybe just getting rid of that and making a fish reports section. So you have the general tab where we talk about everything, and I want to have just a tab where we talk about fishing reports. That way it's not specified by the type of fish or whatever. So I might make that change too. Can you charge battery to run my Mikado motor? Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Can you recharge your battery on the boat? I don't know.
If they had an outlet and you brought your charger, I guess. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's true. They have outlets on the boat and they run the engine the whole time, I think. So yeah, I think so.
You definitely would ask the captain that.
Yeah. I'll ask for you. Yokonator, send me a message on Discord or Instagram and I'll ask for you. Give me the specs on the battery. Like what kind of battery it is and what kind of outlet you need. And if it's just like a regular outlet, like for the house, I'm sure that you can do it. I just have to run it by them and make sure. Also, they won't take PA14s or PA12s. It's got to be smaller than a PA. Okay, that's another thing. But you're out there. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be fun. Perfect. Okay, if you're interested, Yokenator, go on that site, romancastro.com/fish village and grab the spot before anybody else grabs it. If you want to grab it, if you change your mind, you could just not pay the deposit. But if you're interested, grab the spot now while there's a spot left. And then finally,
well, I'll make two quick announcements. Spotty Bowl is not for another 2 weeks. It's June 24th through 26th, so you guys get a little bit more time to practice and mess around. And we got the Apps and Taps coming up on June 18th, right. 3 p.m. Portuguese Hall. Our VIP 2 tables are sold out. There's still tickets available, but the VIP section is full.
It's booked. You can still come to the Apps and Taps on with the general admission. It's about $75. Includes your membership to CCA or renewal of your membership to CCA, but you just can't stand on our side of the rope. Just kidding.
We got a rope.
Just
we got
kidding.
a velvet rope now.
Yeah. It's gonna be. It's not like a velvet, like a red velvet rope. It's a green velvet rope.
Is our table elevated too?
It should be. Shoot.
Like we don't. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, you'll know where our table is. Just look for this.
Yeah.
And that's those are all like the housekeeping announcements. We have one more announcement, a big announcement. Let's go.
Big announcement.
Take it away.
You want me to make the announcement, or you make the announcement? You make the announcement.
I can start it.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out a way to make sure that we can start to give fishing a better image around the community and get some politicians on our side. Right? It's right. Sure. By giving them ammo to talk about fishermen in a positive way. How about that? Right? So Not only that, that's like the underlying, I guess, motive, I guess you could say. But on top of that, we also get to do the good deed for our community, right? So it's a win-win-win-win-win. Everybody's winning. Fishing is winning because hopefully it creates a better narrative than like negative fishing stories would. We're introducing new people into fishing that maybe don't have the opportunity to fish day to day. And we're just kind of spreading the gospel of, I guess, fishing, right? So I know it's like a weird way to say it, but anyway, so the plan is to set up a Mad Max Fishing Club youth fishing camp. Mad Max Fishing Club youth fishing camp. And we're thinking about setting it up for what days?
So we looked at our calendar, guys, and we've got a busy summer with Spotty Bowl and our banquets and everything that's going on. So an open date, our preliminary opening date is July 16th. It's 6 weeks away. So there'll be a lot of planning involved in this. Me and Roman basically we just hatched this idea.
Yes.
This is breaking news.
Fresh
breaking news. But I want to put another spin on. I want the MMFC. We've been talking about doing some type of charity or some type of something for our community, and I think there's no better way than to have a youth fishing camp, day camp, where hopefully we'll get a lot of youth down there, and we're going to try to set up some stations like knot tying, safety, casting, a few stations for these kids to do. And hopefully, if everything goes right, we'll also get these guys out on some volunteer boats to get them out to fish for a half hour or so to actually see if they can get out there and catch a fish. Yeah,
so we're gonna come up with the full itinerary, the full details on that here soon. But right now, the reason we're announcing it today is, and so far it's like over a month away. But we're doing that so that we have time to recruit people to help us run the event, because we're gonna need people to teach kids how to tie knots, right? We're gonna need people to volunteer at a table and say, okay, this is what a hook is. This is a bend. This is the eye. This is the shank. This is the point, right? This is the barb. Explain to them like a mini seminar, like 10-15 minutes before they move on to the next station, where somebody actually teaches them how to tie like a San Diego jam knot, right? Boom, 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 boom. And the next station, somebody teaches them how to how a reel works, right? There's you open the bail, hold the line, you cast, and then you close the bail, and this is how you reel. And then someone else at the water's edge teaches them how to actually cast and unsnag and all that good stuff. And then finally, of course, like the best part of the experience for these kids will be getting to fish on somebody's boat, right? So we'll need some people to volunteer their boats if they're willing to volunteer their boats, and take maybe 2 or 3 kids at a time for like Brian said, maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes just to get them on a bite or whatever, right? So it's gonna be awesome. That's the plan. And there's a thread in Discord I just added. It's called did I add it? I did, but it's on the bottom. Okay, it's called MMFC Youth Fishing Camp. So go in there if you're interested in helping us in volunteering, and say I'm interested in helping, so that we can get an idea of how many volunteers we would have when we set this up, and then we can start figuring it out how many kids we can actually invite. And of course, the kids won't be coming here by themselves. They'll be with an escort, with their parent or their big brother or whatever, whoever, with an adult to supervise them. We're not going to be running a daycare. It's just they have to be here with an adult. So it'll be good. Anything else you want to add to that?
That's right. No. So yeah, the more volunteers, the better. It's when we take on something like this, there's a lot of just taking a group from A to B and ushering people around. Yep. Even if you're not comfortable teaching a kid to tie a knot or use a rod or casting, there's endless volunteer
opportunities.
Positions.
Yeah.
Endless positions, even setup, takedown, anybody that wants to volunteer, even if you don't feel like you have a ton of fishing knowledge or you're new to it, please volunteer. I've done this before with Big Brothers. I've done this before with Boy Scouts, and it's a great event. I guarantee you're going to come out of it feeling good and teaching these kids a new skill and bringing and teaching these kids the right way to come into fishing.
Very cool. So in addition to volunteers for that kind of stuff, maybe I'm going to volunteer Zach, if you're available that day to take pictures and stuff. Maybe Oscar 626. Oscar, you can come by and take pictures too, or video, because the kind of stuff that we want to be able to share out with the community, and maybe we can even type up like a little press release and on what happened and send it out to the media, just if they're looking for a feel good story to share, right? You know how they tell you all the bad stuff on the news, and then at the end of the news they try to end it with like we saved a cat from a tree story, right? It'll be like good, it'll be positive, right? So
that's right.
Gotta let them know what we're doing, and it's gonna be it's for a good cause as well. How are you getting
down in
kids?
SD? We're that to be determined. So
yeah, to be determined.
Yeah,
but
we're still deciding. This is, like I said, this idea just hatched, so it's fresh. Please volunteer, and if you volunteer, I'm sure we're gonna have a few, maybe little Discord meetings where we're gonna discuss these kind of items.
Yeah, the fluff piece, exactly, Salty. So, but yeah, I mean, it's good. So that's the plan. And if you're interested, again, in Discord, there's a new channel. There's a new text channel called MMFC Youth Fishing Camp. That's where we're going to be discussing the details of this. Any volunteers that want to volunteer, that's where you're going to go be up to date. And we'll probably end up doing a call once we get further into the planning, because I think we're going to run a little mini training on how to volunteer for this type of thing, and Brian's got a ton of experience with this kind of stuff, so I think it'll be really helpful for all of us to go through that little training.
That's right.
Cool.
So with that, Roman, I'm gonna get on my kayak for probably the third time this weekend.
Nice.
Went out last weekend, and I'm telling you guys, I'm loving that yak and the docks. It is so much fun. I got out there. I want to give a quick shout out to Chris. I fished with him for a minute in the docks, and then when I went into the to take my boat out of the water, I forgot the bungee cord you showed me, Roman. So he saw me struggling, trying to get my wheels under there. I'm trying to. He manned it up with one arm, getting the wheels.
Oh yeah, it's not gonna happen.
And he came over and helped me. So thank you, Chris, for that. Appreciate that. And this weekend, I'm going to get out there, Roman. I'm going to snag some grass. I'm going to catch some bass. I'll see you guys on the water. I'll be out there Saturday and Sunday.
Let's go. Thanks, Brian. I missed the click. Very good. Once again, everybody, thank you for jumping in today. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Fishy Hour, Bay Fishing with Roman and Brian. Yeah, volunteer, guys, if you have the time. Come help us plan. Even if you want to volunteer to help us plan it, it would be helpful. Yokenator, I'll look into that. I'm sure that'll be okay. You just have to bring your charger with you. I'm not sure if your motor is mounted on a machine on a Hobie PA14 or Hobie PA12. Then that kind of negates the question, because you won't be able to bring the PA. But if it's not on a PA, if it's on a smaller kayak, then yes. Also, send me the kayak you have. That way I can make sure that they allow that kind of kayak. What else? Can you remove Can you remove your motor from the kayak? Because that would probably be helpful too. Because they stack them up in like a weird rack for the trip out to the island. What else? So shout out to everybody that's here. Mr. Zach Riggs, Mr. David. Oh, Dave Rage. I keep just messing that one up. Ironfish, Captain Dan, Yokenator in the house. I got Carl. What up, Carl? Mr. Leonard, Salty Dangler, thanks so much for helping me on today. Muto in the house, Submission Fishing Co. Let's go. TV Metal Art, SoCal Steve. I got Leonard already. I got Doug Rubin in the house. Doug is going to sleep because we're going fishing tomorrow. I'm going fishing tomorrow with Doug, guys. It's gonna be crazy. Let's see. Mr. Brad Eb Martin, welcome back, Brad. Thanks for hanging out with us today. I got Joe Hamilton. What up, Joe? Let's see who else I got in here. Benji in the house. Let's go, Benji. Let's go. I got Peter 86. Mark G. Let's go. All right, guys. Thanks for showing up today. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I will talk to you guys on, I don't know, maybe Saturday or Friday or something. All right. Good night, guys. Woo! Let's go. That mullet is ridiculous, dude.
I want to see how long that lasts. I'm predicting one more week.
I told him I was going to keep it until like the